Hello everyone, welcome to the shed. I'm Lonnie.
Hey, I'm Candace. Welcome.
Today we are going to be talking about 10 different item categories that we will always investigate further when we're at garage sales, estate sales, if we're looking on Facebook.
Thrift stores, yes. These are always things we give a second look to and just don't walk by them.
Yeah, because all of these product categories we're about to show you, they have been solid money makers for us for years. So we've picked out 10 of our favorites and we're going to show them to you. Now look, these are all things that we have actually sold. These are not theoretical. This is not like other people have sold this. These are things. We are in Southern Louisiana. Not the richest area in the world. These are all things that we have found in our local area and sold on eBay for this profit. In most cases, I think we'll be able to tell you how much we bought the items for, and we know for sure how much we sold them for. All the prices we're going to show you do not include shipping. All of them we did charge shipping though. They also do not include potential eBay fees. Or not potential, they do not include eBay fees.
Right.
So keep that in mind as we go. We're not going to break down all the eBay fees and everything, but we did want to share this with you. I think it could be very helpful for you if you're sourcing and trying to make extra money on eBay.
The first category is model kits, which I know a lot of resellers know this, but if you don't, definitely take a look at these. You can usually pick these up sometimes for just a couple of bucks. Maybe $5. We try not to spend over $5 for them. Usually you can pick them up for a couple of bucks though.
Yeah, and we're going to show you some of our better ones from all the items we're going to show y'all here. They're all from the past 2 years.
Yeah.
So that's the furthest I could go back on eBay searching for our sold items. So
yeah.
like for instance, this engine model, we paid $10 for that at a garage sale. It sold within, what do you think, about 2 weeks?
Yeah, it sold pretty fast, yeah.
With about 2 weeks, we sold that for $124.99.
This is a Nomad, Chevy Nomad model kit. Sealed. Sealed is always, of course, best. If they're not sealed, kind of pop them open, and if the contents are still sealed, then it's a pretty sure shot there, you know.
Yeah, a lot of times you'll see these models that are not sealed with parts, like Candace said, parts sealed inside.
Yeah.
It's very, very common.
Yeah.
And whenever you go to look at comps, you're going to see that over and over too. New open box, open box sealed parts, etc.
In fact, some models were sold that way, not sealed.
This one, that Nomad, we spent $10 on.
Yep.
This, we had a big lot of this Big Daddy Roth stuff that we bought. We paid $5 a piece for those.
Yep.
And we are showing y'all the best ones right now, or some of the best stuff we've sold in the past 2 years. It's more common for a model, like the usual scenario. It's probably going to be more like spend $3 and, here's an example. Spend $3. This is a snap together model kit. It's still pretty good value. You can tell it's a little bit older. Older models can do a lot better too.
Yeah.
Because some of those older models, they haven't made like new versions of since. So that's a possibility too. $3 into 30, $3 into 20, $5 into 25. That's the kind of profit you can normally expect unless you find something special. And you know what?
They're out there.
They're out there.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to find.
Yep.
All right, this is going to be mostly me talking here because I'm the one, this is my thing.
Yeah.
If you're willing to pack them, vintage manual typewriters are pretty good. I used to also dabble with electronic typewriters, like the ones that have like the one little LCD line on them. I kind of quit messing with those. I found the money just wasn't there. It'd be like, they're really big and cumbersome, and they sell for like 50, 60 bucks a lot of times. Not necessarily worth it. But check out some of these manual typewriters. Most of these we bought for like $5 to $20. So like here's a Montgomery Ward's typewriter, really cheap entry-level type typewriter from Montgomery Ward's. We got $82 for it. That's another really small typewriter there. It's an Olivetti. We got $89.99 for that one. I think we spent, I want to say that one was like $5.
Yeah.
This Olympia, we did have, I think we're into this one for like $15. We bought 2 typewriters at an estate, even at estate sales on the last day. A lot of people just don't like messing with these things.
Yep.
They don't want to ship them. They're scared of them. You know, you do want to make sure they're in good condition, of course. But like we paid $15 for this one. We got $169.99 for it. Let's see. Oh, this is the other one we got at the same time as the one we just showed you. That's the other one we paid $15 for. Got $229.99 for it. Another thing to look out for on typewriters, if you find any of these vintage manual typewriters and they have like a funny looking font, like italics or cursive and things like that, that can double or triple the price of your typewriter sometimes.
Yes, which this one was not. If we had had it in cursive, we were talking like what, $400, I think.
Plus.
Yeah.
Plus. Yep. Here, this is an example, another typewriter. We got this one at a church sale we got it really cheap because the box was kind of messed up. The typewriter had some issues, but it had all these cool old stickers on it. I'm like, man, somebody's going to want that. We sold it for $48. We paid, I want to say we only paid like $5 for that
it wasn't
one.
much. Yeah.
And it also wasn't a real hard pack because it wasn't that big. So if you're willing to ship them, because they do require a little bit of packing, typewriters can be huge margins.
The next category, and we've really been dabbling in this a lot lately, is books. It can be single books or book lots. We like to look for same author book lots. They can be very good money, as you'll see in this first one right here, the Bregden Chronicles. We picked all these up for like $5 and sold them for $124.99.
Yeah, and you know what's funny about books? The more you dabble and the more you experiment and the more you buy and fail and succeed, the better and better you get at quickly determining which books are not even worth looking up and which ones have potential.
Yeah.
Nonfiction a lot of times are going to be the higher dollar books. That's what I've kind of noticed.
Yeah.
Like, look, a book about knives.
Yeah, case knives. That's very niche. So if something's very niche, a lot of times that can be big money. So that one sold for $125.
We only paid a couple of bucks for that thing.
Yeah. Another book lot, manga usually does really well if you can pick it up for cheap.
Especially if you have a series.
Right. If you have a series with everything in it, I would look them up anyway because some manga are just good on their own. Always look up manga and definitely pick up those full sets when you can get them. This one sold for $99.99.
We got that one at a garage sale for only $5.
Yep. Here's another kind of niche thing. First submachine gun collector book.
Gun and hunting and knives.
Yeah.
Dude stuff.
Yeah.
Non-fiction dude stuff sometimes can be huge money. We picked this one up for a freaking $1.
Yep, and it sold for $149.99.
When we bought that book, we bought like 5 books total at a garage sale, $1 a piece, and after all was said and done, we made about $1,000 on those 5 books. Oh, here's another one that's right from here. that same buy right there.
Yeah, this Mauser book. $224.99 for this book.
And you're not likely to find that exact book, but whenever you see something that looks different, like this book right here, this was at an estate sale a couple of months ago. Last day, hundreds of resellers had already been through. Nobody bothered to look it up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that looks kind of interesting.
It's unique.
And we got several hunting books, Africa safari type hunting books or whatever, at that sale for super cheap too. This book I think we paid $2.50 for.
Yeah.
So most books, and this applies to a lot of categories we talk about, most books not worth anything. Some books are. The more experience and knowledge you have, the better you're going to do with books. It takes time.
Yeah, and if you walk into a room with a ton of books, of course, we're not telling you to look every single book up. Just scan them and see if you see anything niche or just different, than you normally see.
If you are just getting started, though, you may have to look everything up because it takes time and experience to develop an eye for this.
Yeah.
For a lot of these things. Yeah. Books especially, because they're everywhere and it just starts like looking like it can be overwhelming. I'll tell you that. Mm-hmm. This next one I almost hate to talk about. This is one of my little secret niches that a lot of people don't even fool with, don't bother with,
don't glance at.
No.
They don't even think about it.
Nobody values this stuff.
And the same criteria for these kind of go as they do for books. It's magazines. You're looking for niche, unique stuff and in quantity.
Quantity is important.
Quantity is important.
Because like one of these magazines might only be worth $2-3, but then, hey, a lot of 20, a lot of 30. Okay, now you're getting up there, $50 to $100 for the lot. Mm-hmm. And like I said, people don't value this stuff, including the sellers. So a lot of times you can pick this stuff up for nothing. At garage sales, last day of an estate sale, they don't want you walk up with a big stack of magazines, they don't want you putting that back. Right. I promise you.
Right.
I promise you they don't. So let's look at Cigar Aficionado. We paid, I think we paid $20 for that lot. Those people did have some idea or whatever. Monocle magazine. I saw that title, the Monocle, and I saw the edge of those magazines that you see there, and I was like, man, that is weird. I never heard of that. Whenever you think I've never seen one of those. I've never heard of that. I didn't know that existed. What is that? When you're asking yourself those kind of questions, you need to be investigating. What else we got? Aramco.
Here, yeah.
We actually had like 5 lots of these. I'm just showing you one of them. I think we've sold 4 of the lots now for around this same money. Mm-hmm. And we have 1 lot left that hadn't sold. We have 1 magazine out of all those magazines. It had like Sesame Street.
Yes.
Sesame Street, and it sold for like $75, $50, something like that.
Yep.
I mean, we made hundreds of dollars off of these magazines, and I think we paid $0.25 a piece for them.
Yep.
And I got into them, I comped them, and it's some Arabic thing or something.
Yeah.
I comped them, and I'm looking around this room where they have all these books. There's like 10 people in this room, and I'm like, oh my God, and I'm like,
I was in there, and he's like, okay, stay here and guard these.
I said,
we do that a lot. We tag team, somebody guards the stuff while the other person finds out the price.
Finds a box, finds a price, whatever.
Yeah.
People probably think we're crazy. You guard these magazines. Nobody wants these magazines, dude. What are you doing? We did. Ad Astra. That's a garage sale pickup. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, space theme, whatever. Yeah, I never heard of it before. I'll try it out for a few dollars. What is that? Oh, organic gardening. We've got a bunch of lots of those. Let me show y'all. We've got more. Let's see. OG. We started with 5 lots of those. We've sold 2 of them now.
Yep.
So, and we paid $5 for all of them. So we've got like probably $120 in sales off of $5. We still have 3 lots left.
Yep.
Easy money, high margins.
They're boxed up, out of the way, up on the shelf. We forget about them till we sell one. Yep.
It can take a while.
Yep.
Okay, now I've been a hard goods seller, pretty much strictly a hard goods seller, pretty much since I started. Don't really love clothing. We've gotten more into a few things here and there. However, hear me out. If you don't like selling clothing, one thing that I don't think you should pass up if you're going to thrift stores, garage sales, estate sales, jackets. There's too many high value, high margin, high return jackets out there that you could just make huge money on. So if you don't want to mess with clothing in general, I get it. But at least look at the jackets.
Yeah, one thing we always look at is military clothing, especially military jackets. People buy those for hunting, for fashion. Just there's a lot of different people out there that will buy them. Yeah, collectors. Yeah, like this Vietnam era right here, we sold for $159.99.
Now this one in particular was very clean. It's old. It's like the condition on this jacket is what got the big money. That's why I asked the big money. It looked like it was hardly used. It was Vietnam era.
Yeah.
Do you remember buying this one?
Oh yeah, this is a cool vintage NASA jacket. That's one thing we like to look for, the vintage jackets like from the 70s, 80s that are still clean and look good. What did we pay? $5 for this? $5 for this NASA jacket. It's so awesome. This is a Guess 80s Batwing denim jacket. Lonnie actually spotted this hanging on a clothing rack.
Yeah, we actually paid up a little bit. I'd sold vintage Guess jeans before. Maybe even a jean jacket before. I'm not sure. We picked it up for $15, flipped it. We listed it. We got the $80 like within a couple of days. I think it might have sold like the next day even.
Really fast. Yep. We like to look for sports jackets, especially the vintage ones, like I said, that are clean and just different looking. Like this LSU jacket with the big spell out on it.
Yep, big spell out.
People love the vintage college jackets. And then this is a very unique find. This is like really niche. You're not gonna. Well, we may never find one of these again in our career. It's just so cool that we had to show it. It's a vintage, going on maybe antique nurse's cape, wool nurse's cape. Really cool item.
Got 150, and again, jackets. I think jackets pretty much fly out of here. A lot of the jackets we list fly out of here pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Some don't. Some do take longer. I'll admit that. But a lot of them, like this piece in particular, I don't think we had it more than a month, huh?
Yeah, and I contribute that because we are kind of picky about the ones we do buy.
Right.
We don't just, like I said, we don't buy every jacket out there. They need to be clean. They need to be unique. Vintage usually. Yeah.
Next category, sporting goods. This is a huge category. Again, high margins on this stuff. You see it a lot. Most garage sales are going to have some kind of sports equipment out there. So you do owe it to yourself to become, if you go to garage sales a lot, and thrift stores, you owe it to yourself to at least have some working knowledge of this. We aren't experts. I do know that football helmets are good. Here's one right here. Dates matter. It doesn't mean you can't sell an older helmet, but once a helmet is over a certain number of years, it can't really be recertified for play. They still have value though. If I get them cheap enough, I don't care how old it is. If it's a Riddell, if it's a shoot helmet, old football helmet, and I can get it pretty cheap, I'm buying it because we have sold a lot of helmets and we've made a lot of money on them. Baseball gloves, that's something else. That's a really clean one that you're looking at right now. Most baseball gloves we're picking up around here, $20 to $40 is what we're gonna get. We're normally spending like $2 to $5.
Yeah.
But that's something we've done over and over and over and over.
Gloves. And let me tell you, I'm not like this big sports girl, but I've learned the brands to look for, and at least to bring to Lonnie to say, hey.
When it comes to gloves, you usually don't even have to look them up. It's condition. And then usually, like, you can tell it's gonna feel quality.
Yeah, because there's faux leather gloves out there. You definitely don't want that,
right?
And you don't want like little league gloves, of course.
Little kid gloves that are used. Typically, there's always exceptions. Okay, typically the little kid gloves don't sell very well. Bats are another category where you need to know your brand. I never even heard of this brand before, and we happened to pick it up, fortunately, and we didn't pay much for it. Sold it for $75. Marucci, DeMarini, some Eastons. There's so many bat brands out there. It's best to look up the bat along with the size, because like even the same bat model in a different size might be worth half the money. You know, like in the two sizes are the length and the weight. That's the two important things with bats whenever you're going to go search them. So
and condition.
Yeah, if
Look
it has
for dents and cracks and
yeah, run your hand all over that aluminum bat, looking for cracks, looking for dents. It's going to be obvious, because if it has a dent or a crack, it's pretty much worthless for resale.
Yeah.
It's going to have a bad dead spot. Shoulder pads can be really good. They can be anywhere from mediocre to really good. This one was pretty good. And again, at garage sales, you could typically buy these $5, $10. We've even bought a fair amount of these at thrift stores.
Yes,
even I think
we found them at thrift stores too.
Yeah, more than once.
Yeah.
So, I'm not an expert on golf clubs. I do know Ping, and we have made a lot of money on Ping irons. And I want to say this particular set we got for $20, and that's normally when I'm buying irons at garage sales. How much for this set of irons? $20, $10, $5, $30. It's always going to be something like that. And if you know your brands
and are willing to ship them.
Yeah. Pro tip: get yourself some stretch wrap if you haven't already. That helps a lot with irons.
Yeah.
But yeah, knowing at least a baseline level of knowledge about golf clubs, I think is pretty necessary if you're going to a lot of garage sales.
All right, let's talk about boots. Boots is one thing I always look for, and I'm not talking about like so much fashion boots, but like working boots, men's work boots, cowboy boots. Like this, we don't buy a lot of cowboy boots, but you can sometimes pick them up cheap. This pair right here was really cool and different looking, so we had to pick those up.
$20 we paid.
$20 for those. They were new, of course. That's always going to make you look twice whenever you have something that's new.
Right.
We like to get military and work boots. We buy a lot of those. One thing I've learned is to look at the sole. If you see Vibram sole, they're usually going to be good boots. So definitely give those a second look. Don't forget when you're buying any kind of shoes, and especially boots, to do the dry rot test. You're just going to take that boot and bend it like out of itself, like on the sole, like this is your sole, bend it to make sure it doesn't crack or break up. But usually you can pick up military type boots for like $5-10, and if they're a good brand, they can bring good money. Like these brought $80 for some used boots.
Yeah, there are a few brands to know about. I'll just name a few here. Belleville is a good brand. Danner is a fantastic brand. Some Danner boots could be worth big money. As always, a good indicator of if the boots are good, just like Candace said, the sole. Also, where are they made?
Right.
If they're made in USA, they're usually going to be worth a lot more.
Yeah.
That's just a fact.
Yeah.
What do we? Oh, Jungle Boots is some more combat boots here. I don't remember those.
Yeah, these are just some LL Bean. So these are not necessarily like military or combat or cowboy, but some of the better brands can bring decent money too. This is some used shoes that we got $43 for. And then again, cowboy boots, like I said, we don't buy a lot of them, but when I see them new in the box, I'll always take a look at those and comp those.
Yeah, that particular pair we paid $25 for.
Yeah.
Paid up a little bit, but like Candace said, new makes all the difference, because it makes it like there's no cleaning, there's no condition stuff going on.
They're going to sell fairly fast.
And that's what I was going to say too.
Yeah.
They're going to sell. Boots sell fast. Just like if you don't like clothing, I still think you should look at jackets. If you don't like selling shoes, I still think you should look at boots.
Yep.
Because boots are just a different, like, they sell quicker and for more, and a lot of times they have a potential to be worth more money than your average shoe you would see.
Our next category is flatware cutlery, and this is really something I just got into in the last couple of years. I don't even know how it happened. I kind of stumbled into it. So especially at estate sales, you'll see big lots of silverware or flatware, so I always take a look at those. And if they're in good condition and cheap enough, I go ahead and pick them up. I don't even look them up. Be careful with silverware that it's not pitted, or it can have light scratches in it. Just make sure the condition's not really bad. Tarnishing is not a bad thing either. So these were some very unique cutlery that I found in an estate sale, and I was able to piece them out. I sold 6 of these forks for almost $150 here, just the forks.
That whole buy, you must have made over $1,000 on
that was
just that one line.
And there's not, I mean, that's a unique set of flatware there, unique pattern. But like this silver plate Rogers set here, you can usually pick these up last day of estate sales or garage sales for around 20 bucks. At least here you can. So I always get those. Sometimes I part them out. Sometimes I sell them as a set like this right here. Lonnie, you found these. There are some shears for like hunting or whatever, but the reason that Lonnie looked at these because of the brand is Case.
Yeah.
If you see Case knives or shears, definitely take a look at those. That's a big indicator there.
I think we only paid like $5.
Yeah.
No, we had to pay like 10 or something for those.
Yep.
It was still a great deal.
And then this is a brand we've discovered in the last year. It's a French brand, Laguiole. We found a little set of knives that we bought and sold in an estate sale, and then a few months later, we stumbled across these at a garage sale and picked them up. Recognized the brand right away. It has a little bee symbol for their mascot or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, the older ones are made in France. However, we have spotted some of their newer stuff that has been made in China.
Yeah.
It's like designed in France, made in China, kind of like Apple does,
right.
you know.
And then cutlery, there's a couple of brands I like to look for. Chicago Cutlery, you can usually pick that up pretty cheap. They sell for maybe like $20 a knife. And also these Henckels, the ones we like to buy, Henckels or Solingen, Germany. You're going to look for that on the blade. So.
And there's also that brand that everyone knows about. We don't see that much of it.
Cutco.
Cutco.
Yeah.
Cutco, of course, if you see that out there.
Yeah.
I don't have any examples of Cutco we've sold.
I've never found Cutco.
Isn't that weird?
I'll take that back. I found some in an estate sale one time, and they just had it priced, even on half off day. It was way too high.
Okay, printer ink / laser toner can be huge money and sells, especially the toner, sells very quickly. This particular toner right here, it's a 4-pack. We actually had, I think, 2 other boxes we got at that sale. I think we were into this stuff for like $20 for all of it.
Yeah.
This lot of 4, and it sold for $5.50 or $5.49.99. It sold within like, I think it was that night, the same night I listed, or maybe the next day. It needs to be sealed. It needs to be first party OEM stuff. It needs to be like if it's for Canon, it needs to be Canon. It needs to be Xerox, IBM, whatever it is.
Branded, yeah.
It needs to be branded. Don't get the knockoff stuff. It's not worth it. Here's some more. We've got a big lot of ink for cheap. This is just a couple weeks ago, and that's inkjet stuff there. You also want to check the dates on this stuff. This stuff was in date. I'm not saying not to sell out of date stuff, because I will, but you gotta select some kind of cutoff when it comes to inkjet ink. Like, I don't want to sell inkjet ink that's more than maybe 2-3 years old. I have sold older ink than that in the past. It can dry up. You can have issues. I choose not to dabble with that, like with the old ink anymore. But if you can find here, this is another toner from that same buy I showed y'all a minute ago. So I don't find this stuff a lot, but when I do, we get paid.
Okay, the very last category is our favorite. It's probably everybody's favorite. We love to look for unusual things. Just like when Lonnie was talking about the magazines. If you see something and you're like, I don't know what that is. I've never seen that. I've never heard of that. Take a look at it. Usually it's going to be big money. Like this sign right here, this invalid coach sign. It was actually used like for funeral homes on hearse and stuff. So we picked that up. What did we pay?
$2.
$2 for that. And it sold for $149.99. This same thing, this big hand here. You may not be able to tell by the picture, but it was tall. Just something unusual, you know, look for things like that. And this is interesting. We picked up 3 of these, right? They were binders. They were salesman's binders for a casket company. Anything macabre, unfortunately, usually does pretty well. So we picked those real cheap. Picked those up really cheap last day in the estate sale. And then something else unusual you don't see everywhere, like a old K&B shopping basket.
This is very specific. Now that doesn't mean that you should go around picking up all these baskets. There happens to be a niche collector market for K&B drugstore stuff.
Yep.
And I knew that. And there's a good chance there might be, like K&B was regional, there's a good chance there may be some type of business in your area that has fans too, that you know about, that we don't know about, that you might occasionally see stuff for. So yeah.
Yeah, and that was a case of something that we had never seen for sale before. You don't walk around and just find those. And then this last item, you can't tell by the picture, but that sucker was like this tall. Just you see these wooden carved things like that, but not that big. Just something really unusual and fun.
And I'll be honest with y'all, whenever Candace brought, that was an estate sale, I think we paid $30 for it. When Candace showed it to me, I'm like, no, I'm not packing that. And I'm like, and she's like, but it comes apart. And I'm like, all right. And I'm glad we did, because I mean, look how much money we made on that.
Yeah.
You know, like being willing to, another thing apart from items is being willing to do that which others are not willing to do will get you money too.
Yes.
And that includes packing all this wooden fruit and stuff. And it ended up going great. And another thing we learned from doing that is not to sleep on these wooden centerpieces and stuff. We bought some other wooden type figure sets and things since then that have also sold. So I hope that this was a useful list for you of different, like, not just specific items, but entire categories. This is the kind of stuff we always stop and investigate and look out for. And like I said, we have made a ton of money on all 10 of these product types. So thanks so much for watching. If you aren't already, please consider subscribing, and we will see y'all again very soon. Bye, y'all.
Bye.